All right, welcome to Out of the Blue from the Block M Podcast Network, part of the Fan First Sports Network. 60% of the time, it works every time. I am Jared Stormer of the Fan First Sports Network and MaizenBrew.com. With me, as always, is Andy Bailey, my hetero life mate of the same place and time. Andy Bailey, a man whose beard isn't just grown, is earned, darkened by time, grit, the blood of his enemies. He doesn't arrive loudly. The room just knows, and he will die quietly like a cowboy. How the hell are you, my friend?
I'm good, man. I'm really glad to be back. Apologies for being off last week. I had to deal with the weather here. Had to move around a little bit, kind of get that nomadic lifestyle like you do. And we are not cut from the same cloth. I could not do it. But good news is I'm back home. Happy to be back settled in. My enemies still know my name. They still fear me. So that's out there. But really happy to be back.
Your enemies will know your quality should ever you meet them. Apologies for taking last week off. That was an impromptu one. A lot of ice on the streets. I mean that in multiple ways. It was a tough one for us last week, and you were iced out by the literal ice of your apartment there. So no power. So we had to do what we had to do. But we are back now talking off-season stuff out of the blue with you again for the year 2026. Before we get into everything that we got going on, a little housekeeping, catch you up on what's going on. Award season coming up, baby. One of our favorite pods of the year. Not our favorite. That's 2 months away for whoever's counting. That would be the spring game draft held in April. But end of the year, we're going to do our movie review as well as our season awards. That'll be 2 weeks from this podcast. Another one we really look forward to. Even in a weird year like last year, it is fun to go back and look at like best plays, like best individual efforts, things like that, you know?
Well, it's nice to look back fondly. Like, we don't have to go over all the shit. Like, there was enough of that to deal with. We know the bad games. But in a sense, it's when those games happen at the end of the year, similar like 2018 or 19, you often forget about a lot of the good times there. So like, it's nice to go back, pay respect to those moments, and pay respect to some of our movies as well.
Yeah, and a really good movie year. So I'm excited for this one. A better movie year than last year. There's no question it's a better movie year. It's not even arguable. Yeah, I'm 100% with you there. Also, since we last spoke, we have our Super Bowl matchup. It is going to be Seahawks-Patriots again. Feel like we've done this before, but a little bit more interesting with the Michigan footprint currently in the NFL. Jesse Minter, hired by the Baltimore Ravens. Incredible hire. John Harbaugh goes to the Giants since we last spoke. All very interesting stuff there. Michigan now accounts for like 20% of the head coaches in the NFL with this move. And Mike McDonald's in the Super Bowl. You could make an argument he's currently top of the mountain for best coach in the NFL. If you wanted to make that argument, you might have some pushback because Andy Reid's still out there. Some guys clearly are going to have more wins, and Harbaugh, both of them are still out there as well. But what Mike McDonald did this year is unassailable with the Seattle team.
I think we have the best two coaches for 2025, 2026 in the Super Bowl with the jobs they've done at their respective teams, with what Vrabel did with the Pats.
Ohio State, man.
There's some Liam Cohen stuff with the Jaguars that obviously kind of flamed out as well. And what Kyle Shanahan did really shorthanded with the Niners was impressive. I love this matchup, man. I really like Vrabel as a coach as much as I hate the Patriots. I kind of hate how likable Drake May is. Like, be a villain or something. Just do that. Like, stop making me like you. But with the Seahawks, so easy to buy into with like AJ Barner, Olu Oluwatimi, Mike Morris, Jay Harbaugh.
Mike Morris plays teams. There too. Yeah.
I mean, it's just so easy to get in on this team. And it's like a lot of no names around it. Like, you have the stars like the JSNs and Sam Darnold, but like on defense, like you have some key pieces there, but it's like you have other guys always stepping up. You had the sneaky Rashid Shaheed signing or trade in the middle of the season, which is fun. So I'm really juiced for this one, man. I'm excited. I hope the Seahawks bring it home. And I think it'd be awesome for Mike McDonald, who went from in 2020 just being a Ravens linebackers coach to now he'd be Super Bowl winning. Like, that's just a tremendous trajectory.
Ulysses S. Grant level of rise.
Literally,
I'm a postmaster to I'm the president of the United States level for Mike McDonald, and well-deserved. You mentioned some of the players that we'll see on the other side. Mike Onwenu over there for the Patriots. It does feel like Michigan versus Ohio State, though, with the McDonald versus Vrabel. Clearly more Michigan guys represented on the Seattle side, but root for who you're going to root for. But it is exciting and interesting to me. At least we got some new teams in there. Michigan well represented in this one, and it's hard not to root for McDonald, man. He was a brief holdover at Michigan, but everything that he did was like immediately endeared himself to me and I think the fan base.
Yeah, drug our program and our defense up from the depths of hell in 2020 and then handed the reins to Jesse Minter. Now both are head coaches, so good for them.
Good for them, man. Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see what Minter can do next year.
Yeah.
Something we'll follow closely. Some Wolverines on that program as well as to see, who in the draft wants to take some of these Wolverines with all these tie-ins. So it'll feed over into our draft conversation as well. Michigan women, we haven't talked about it in 2 weeks, brother. Catch me up. Where are we at here?
Winning. Winning is what's been happening. To avoid just going on and on about this, most recently, the women beat number 13 Michigan State in a classic at Breslin, 94-91 in overtime, led by a career high from Mila Holloway with 26 points. This game was very like up and down, very dramatic at the end, really over officiated. Olivia Olson fouled out. Holloway actually fouled out as well. They had some players on their side leave the game, but an absolute classic. It was a great time. The women have won, I believe, 3 in a row since their last loss, knock off Indiana, beat the hell out of Rutgers by like 35. And their schedule, kind of like the men's, gets really difficult here in the back end. But this was a critical win for the Big Ten. I believe the women sit second now, only behind UCLA, who is second in the country, led by Lauren Betts.
Outstanding stuff, man. Yeah, and I love the crossover when the men and the women are both kind of
Yeah.
starting to get into the Big Ten schedule, get into these rivalry games at the same time. It's going to be a very, very fun March. Extremely excited, man. And sometimes March can be a bit of a downer sports year, but if you've got teams in it, you got teams in the men's and women's side that really could make some noise. It just adds to it. It just adds to what we're going to be able to enjoy here, and I'm enjoying it now. Sometimes the regular season can seem like a bit of a slog in basketball,
Yeah.
both pro and college, because I mean you can drop 7 games and it doesn't really matter. It matters how you're playing come tournament time. But I've been getting up for a lot of these. They've been enjoyable. Michigan women's. We're obviously going to talk about Michigan men's basketball at length in this one after the week that they just had. But yeah, love it. Love to hear that. Michigan hockey as well with a
Brother.
continued kind of like Jokic goes out for the Nuggets and they just keep cooking. How about Ivan Kovic going out and this Michigan hockey team still cooking?
Yeah, Michigan hockey has now won 6 in a row. They have not lost in 2026. They've won 4 straight with a backup goalie. You mentioned Ivan Kovic going out. Stephen Peck steps in, holding his own, doing what he can. But the boys in front of him have really delivered. Michigan has now won 11 of their last 12 overall. And the last time they lost, Sharon Moore was still a head coach.
That's insane. I love those stats, but let's never mention that again. I can't wait to see, like, we'll be a year and a half away. This feels like it's going to be something we never mentioned. Someone's like, in the Sharon Moore year, I'm like, what are you talking about? It's like, that's like Godfather 3. That didn't happen.
It didn't happen. But this hockey team right now is on, I mean, historic pace in terms of being a program. They sit at like 22-4 right now. They've already either, I think, surpassed their Big Ten point total from last season, and they still have 2, 4, 6, 8 Big Ten games remaining just to get points in these. So it's crazy what they're doing right now. But the biggest focus is at this point just getting healthy for the tournament. Like they could play 500 hockey for the next 3 weeks and still have a chance to win the regular season Big Ten crown. I mean, some outside factors, Michigan State considered, but like going into there, they can still have a chance. But it's all about the tournament. Like they're in the tournament right now. Like even if they lost
Crazy.
out, they're in the tournament. So it's just about getting Ivan Kovic healthy and getting the team ready for that final push.
Yeah, it's crazy to be that far ahead where you can almost like sit it out. Not going to be the case. No good
No.
team does that. They're going to play this out and they're going to want to be playing their best hockey at the end of it. But tune in when you can, and certainly come tournament time. It's going to be a lot of fun. Anything auxiliary sports wise before we kind of transition into football here?
Do you want to mention
For
Derek Moore now, or do you want to save that?
Yeah. For the quick hits here, we'll talk
Yeah.
Derek Moore and then we'll get into basketball. That's its own segment here. So, as far as football news, since we last spoke, we've signed both of our offensive and defensive coordinators, Beck and Jay Hill. Well paid is why I
Well
wanted
paid.
to mention this one. Like, and it makes sense. These guys could have considered head coaching jobs. I'm not sure. I didn't hear any reporting on that, but Jason Beck in particular, I would not be surprised if like a James Madison or something wanted to come ask around about that guy. So 3 million basically for both of these guys. I mean, those are highly paid coordinators. Makes you wonder if these are 1 year rentals, what the plan is here, or is it dependent on how Michigan performs? But this is in line with what we thought about what we expect from these guys.
I like the investment. I really like the investment, especially with last year with Beck working with Whittingham already, having complete autonomy. You know how that dynamic's going to work. Where Whittingham was like, okay, here are the keys. You go, you run the thing. And we saw some issues with Michigan last year with, okay, Chip Lindsey's running the show, but Sharon's kind of jumping in here and jumping in there and doing things and breaking up rhythm. Now it's just going to be one vision. I think this money is an investment, a sign of that. And with Jay Hill on defense, I've already been on record. I think Jay Hill will or very likely will succeed Kyle Whittingham at Michigan. Like I think he's going to set up a succession plan similar to Utah, and I think this is an investment in that as well.
It's very interesting. That is a conversation for a different time, as far as I'm concerned. I need to see some things
Understandable.
after putting somebody in charge that was, on the staff and giving it to him without head coaching experience.
Yep.
But I am also high on both, and that's the key thing here. So excited to talk more about those guys, what they bring. Obviously, our off-season content, we're going to dive deep. If you're a out of the blue listener, you know that we're going to get in on all of this. So excited for that here. Derek Moore, as you mentioned, in the Senior Bowl and
Yep.
has really gone viral. Honestly, had one of the most viral moments of the weekend after taking down a 6'9" offensive tackle. Where is he? Boston College? I forget where that guy, Arizona, one of those.
It was. It
Yeah,
might have been. It might have been Miami. It wasn't. Obviously, it wasn't Maui Noah, but it was
was
a.
one of the big names.
It
Yeah.
was a big guy. I mean, he's a long-legged, heavy-setting tackle anyway, so he kind of walked into it. But yeah, Derek Moore had the Mike Green rep of the week. Like Mike Green
Hmm.
last year went viral, the Marshall kid who went in the first round. Derek Moore had that this year. Like it was the most
Yep.
talked about rep of the week. And of all the Michigan guys in Mobile, he gained the most. Like he has serious momentum right now to be a top 50 pick. I still think it's a long shot to get in the first round with this talented edge class.
No, I
But
don't
if
see
he
that.
has a good combine, he could be very early in the second round, very early day two.
Yeah, I wasn't ready to take him down below that despite him ending on a weaker note. I
Yeah.
think that it's tough. You and I, we need time to consider these things, come back and look at the circumstances. And then after you sit with it for a while, you can be like, you know what? I don't think this is Derek Moore's fault. He was still by far our most talented pass rusher. At times he was the best player on the defense.
Yes.
Not every game. And I think that was the real thing that you and I harped on because we had high expectations for him.
Like double
I
digit
took him
sacks
really.
are real.
Yeah, I mean, I took him very high in the spring game draft, had high expectations, didn't quite get there, but still looked like the best pass rush prospect.
Yeah.
And in a year where it's good at the top and then maybe drops off a decent amount, I wonder if Derek Moore can get into that second range round. I think that's realistic, and a strong showing at the Senior Bowl is only going to help that.
Exactly. I think if he just carries this momentum and tests well at Indianapolis, like we think he will, giving his like height, weight, and
He's an
speed and all
athlete.
that, yeah, he could really move up. He did a great job against the run at the Senior Bowl. I think that was a big question because at Michigan,
Hmm.
with his size, like you should be better at setting the edge at 255. Like you should just be
Yeah.
better at this. You shouldn't be getting pushed around. Was much better in Mobile.
Yeah, I'm going to bring this up here because we allowed for some leeway on this podcast. Michael Smeltzer, on Bleacher Report, go check us out over there, brought up, I said that I think John Henry Daly is better right now than Derek Moore ever was. And he brought up a pretty good rebuttal. John Henry Daly coming off of an Achilles tear. Are we
Mhm.
over leveraged on our John Henry Daly stock?
We could be. I mean,
We could be.
there's a very real chance. We saw how long it's still taking Rod Moore to get back from his injury. So we don't know, but John Henry Daly as a junior was better than Derek Moore ever was in college.
That was more
Period.
our point,
That's
is that, yeah, John Henry Daly's best year is better than Derek Moore's best year.
Yeah,
Is
John
more,
Henry Daly
maybe
was a
we should
first
rephrase
team
that.
All-American last year. Derek Moore was never an All-American.
No, absolutely. But nonetheless, I think Derek Moore could be a good addition. Similar to like Ojabo, but like
Mhm.
more well-rounded than Uche, I think. I think he's
Yeah.
closer to Ojabo, not as athletic as Ojabo, but maybe slightly better against the run, as we're seeing a little bit here. Didn't see it every week against Michigan, but something to watch as the draft gets a little bit closer. To be interesting to see like who's talking about these guys. Where do we see some of these guys going? I've got a question for you later in some rapid fire, which I know you're ready for. So looking forward to that. The Michigan schedule release. Got to talk about this here. For the most part, we've known what this is, but now we know the dates. We know when this is going to be happening. Do you want to run us through it real quick, or how do you want to go about this?
Yeah, I'll run us through it. So, first game of the week, I'll start there. Western Michigan at home, not in Germany anymore. So shout out to that. Week 2, Oklahoma at home, UTEP at home, Iowa at home, and then they hit the road for the first time in the first week of October. Travel to Minnesota, bye week, come back home for Penn State, Indiana after that. Travel to Rutgers. Michigan State comes to town after that. at Oregon, UCLA comes to Ann Arbor, and then Michigan, Ohio State in Columbus to finish it out.
Early thoughts. Yikes.
Is
Anything to
this
add?
is this the best head coach gauntlet Michigan's ever had to run, at least in recent memory?
Since we've been covering it, yes.
Yeah.
Easily for me since we've been covering it because you add Signetti to it, who you and I just put ahead of Kirby Smart on the last time we podcasted, because how can you not? That is a better coaching job than what Kirby Smart did, given the resources Kirby Smart has. Adding Indiana and Oregon is insane. And then like Oklahoma, who I think will be better. I think Oklahoma is going to be better next year. Now they lose some stuff on defense and it comes back to Michigan. Early thought that feels like the one you got to get, doesn't it? Like that feels like the one, a little revenge. Now, granted, totally different team. This is going to be a
Yeah.
dramatically different Michigan team, but there's going to be enough guys on there and it's at home and you're trying to make your mark here, a better Bryce Underwood. We could have won with a better Bryce Underwood last year. Now, I do anticipate a better Oklahoma offense this time around, but that one is the one I'm circling. Indiana, you can't pencil in as a win. Like that would be a huge upset. That team scares the absolute hell out of me. We didn't even talk about that. They won the national championship since we last spoke and really weren't even challenged this
No.
year. I mean, there was a couple close games, but it's right up there with our national championship as the most dominant national championship ever.
Yeah.
And we pull them, you know? So this is the most difficult schedule we've ever covered since we've been covering this team, I would say, considering then you get into a playoff where you have to win more games against talented teams in order to win a national championship. The road has never been more difficult.
No, like even UCLA has Bob Chesney now, and Penn State has Matt Campbell. Like we don't know what that's going to look like yet.
At Minnesota's no freaking
That's
gimme.
that's not easy. That's not an easy game. Then Iowa coming to town, Kirk Ferentz. This Iowa team, by the way, who was one possession away from beating Oregon and Indiana this past season.
Good Iowa team. They're figuring things out on offense.
Thank God that's not at Kinnick. So yeah, man, this is a crazy hard schedule. I mean, just roughly now, if we're setting the over under, do you think it's what, 8.5?
8.5 is what we said. I'm sticking with 8.5. At this point, we kind of know what the rosters are. There could still, I mean, Darian Mensah just went to Miami. Like things are still happening, but for the most part, we know what to expect here. 8.5. I would be surprised if the win total is anything else, unless we hear some like crazy news, like Bryce Underwood's out or John Henry Daly won't be ready to go or something like that. It feels like 8.5 is what you set it at. You hope they can get one of these upsets. It's at Ohio State again this year. And like, you want to be able to make predictions about that, but Whittingham, new to the rivalry, we don't know what he's bringing to that. There's so much unknown about this team on defense in particular. But then again, on offense too, like we think we like what we have on offense, and this is going to be a bear of a Michigan team to play. None of these teams are going to have fun game planning for Michigan, but where can these upsets come? Expecting them to go to 11-1 seems unrealistic. 10-2 seems like you're being pretty optimistic. 9-3 feels like an awesome season. And then, 8-4 feels like it'd be a better 8-4 season for sure, but it feels way on the table.
Yeah, you just don't want those insipid Bryce Underwood performances. You just want to see this team
Yes.
take a step, be competitive, have some fire out there. But this is a big schedule of I don't know what to expect. Like Ohio State, mostly what we can expect. See if they can turn over the roster again, especially on defense. New OC, but UCLA, new coaching staff. Oregon replacing both coordinators. Pat
Mhm.
Fitzgerald taking over at Michigan State. Penn State, new coaching staff. Like it's kind of up in the air with a lot of this stuff. It's harder to predict 1 year over as it used to be.
I really want, and this doesn't matter. This is just fan stuff right here. I want Michigan to be ranked in the 20s. I want no one to believe in this team. I want to come in with no hype. It actually concerns me that Joel Klatt put us in the top 10.
Put us at 9.
I was like, don't do that. Don't do that. I want this team to come in with a chip on their shoulder and have Iowa thinking like, yeah, we got this. I want Oklahoma to be like, we beat them last year. No problem. And then they run up against this running game that's like, oh, this is different. So where we can surprise some of these teams. Granted, that's not how it works. I'm talking fan speak. No head coach is going to overlook Michigan
Yeah.
with Kyle Whittingham as a coach with the talent we have. I get that. But just from a national perspective, from a conversation point, I would love it if teams overlooked this team because it feels like a team that if you overlooked them and you were just like, whatever, they're rebuilding, they could get you. But if everyone's up for this team, then and it's just your guys versus our guys, it's going to be fascinating to see. It's going to be fascinating to see how good we can get this defense. Is this offense as potent as we think it can be?
What game scares you the most besides Ohio State, obviously?
Indiana, no question. It's Indiana. It's easily Indiana. It's at home, but Indiana has earned the right to be
Yeah.
feared.
Yeah. It's
The,
other
the
one would be at Outson for me, just because
tough place to play.
West Coast has not been favorable to Michigan since Big Ten expansion.
Yeah, those 3 games at Ohio State, at Autzen, and then Indiana at home. If you get either of those 3, it's gonna feel like a pretty good season, but look, I'm not here to tell you we can't. I'm here for the optimism, but coming off the season that we had, I think we need to see something. We
Yep.
got to see something early on, and that's why that Oklahoma game is going to be so big for like what we believe this team can do. What are the expectations? We've got a lot to learn, and we can only go off the data points we have. And there's just so many new data points with this
That's a
team.
great point. I mean, like I was saying, for every other team, Michigan's just the same, if not more.
Yeah, dude, I'm with you. I'm with you there. Other football news since we last spoke just happened recently. Linebacker Ndi Etta, brother of Eno Etta, class of 2026, commits to Michigan. The amount of nepotism happening in the linebacker room has never been seen before. It's either brothers or sons of everyone that we know.
I,
Um,
I wonder if this is
who,
the way you could get players to take like deals on NIL. Like, okay, your brother can come, like the Giannis Thanasis thing.
the
It's like
Thanasis thing, yeah,
it's the
just like we'll
Thanasis
bring
corollary.
Thanasis.
Just yeah,
Yeah,
all right, bring your brother. Come on, we'll put him on the roster. Let's do this. I mean, it'd be nice if he just turns out to be a baller, but like it just feels like okay, he's going to take half the money. His brother's on the team now.
can one of these guys be an actual player? That'd be lovely. If it's the Pierce brother, it's the Moa brother, it's the Etta brother. We need one of these guys to be a player, linebacker. A lot of names there, but like of the guys you're excited about,
Gets pretty thin. We're going to find out in our spring draft in a couple months how that's going to shake out. I am excited about Christian Pierce though. Like I
okay.
talked myself into that one. He was heavily recruited out of high school by all the big schools. So I wonder if there was like an academic issue why he had to go to Western Illinois first before coming to Michigan.
Michigan, notably soft on their academic
Well, he
requirements.
had to get them improved at Western before coming.
Just messing with you. Another commitment since we last spoke. 2026 kicker Jacob Baggett has committed to Michigan. 6 foot, buck 75 out of Charlotte, number 8 ranked kicker in the country. Last year went 6 of 7 on field goal attempts with a long of 48. 7 field goal attempts. I mean,
There we
granted,
go.
I mean, that must
Been
mean this
enough.
team's a powerhouse or this team sucks balls. One of the two. Like, there's no in between. Either they're always getting into the end zone or they can't get past the 50. Not big, but I mean, you got to trust the recruitment here. The good thing about this kid is the nicknames and the slogans are built in. He is in his baguette as soon as he hits a 45 plus yarder. Come on now.
there's
Get there
there's
with me.
there's a ton to work with here. There's a lot, good and bad. But yeah, I mean, number 8th ranked kicker in the country. You can't deny that. The numbers are what they are, but the evaluation seemed to love him. So we'll go with that.
Do you think kickers are best found through the transfer portal?
100%.
Because I couldn't
100%.
agree more
Like,
because of the volatility from season to season. Just look at Dom Zavada.
I think this is like just insurance policy, throwing stuff against the wall. Let's add the kicker. Let's see how it
You got to
shakes
have
out.
somebody.
Because
Yeah,
it could be
add
because it could be
somebody.
Jake Moody. It could be Jake Moody.
Yeah, absolutely. You add somebody, but like odds are our next great kicker, we get through the transfer portal. That's just how things are trending right now. Keeping it pushing here, other roster moves. Bryson Cusdall returning. I think this is key. This is actually key, and this is a guy that's going to get carries. We are the preeminent podcast of RB3 at Michigan Matters. This is RB3 at Michigan. He's going to battle for RB2. Here's my question. If he's RB2, is he underqualified for RB2, overqualified for RB3?
I think that's perfect.
I
Yeah.
think he's kind of in that weird spot where if he's your RB2, you're like, I don't know, man.
It's I I feel I mean, he had a 100-yard game, a 3 touchdown performance
Gets a
last year,
Big Ten
so
opponent.
I feel
Yeah,
great about it. I love having him back for the depth, especially with Savion Hyder still being
had to
an
have it.
unknown. Like, just having that veteran depth there that you can trust take some carries off of Jordan Marshall. You can use him in a variety of ways. Jason Beck likes to get 3, 4 running backs involved, so I think this is crucial. Also, I think you could see him used in the passing game, as we've seen. Like, he's a burner. So to get Heat or Hyder out in space and take some touches off Marshall's play, I think it's a good thing.
It's absolutely a good thing. There's no question about it. And I'm not going to speak ill of Bryson Costal. This is a guy that, like, once Haynes transferred to Georgia Tech, which we hadn't mentioned, that's where he's headed. This had to happen. So I think that this is big. And I don't know. You think about all the carries that Jordan Marshall is going to have this year. Jordan Marshall is going to be well utilized in
Yeah.
this offense. He's going to miss some snaps. That is
Yeah.
a physically demanding spot. So that means Savion Hyder is going to play whether he's RB2 or RB3. I think Hyder and Cusdall are easily both guys you are relying on next year. Like, you're going to need them. There's going to be a game where we need Cusdall. There's going to be a game where we need Hyder, period. So you had to get him back because if not, it's Capana. And no disrespect to Capana, who I'm excited to see what he could become. But this was a must retain once Haynes transferred.
The good news for Jordan Marshall is last year he had 150 carries, even not playing in the bowl game and being limited towards the end of the season. Utah's leading rusher last year, Wayshawn Parker, had 149. So he already
Yeah.
knows the workload to expect.
Weird year last year and the way that it worked out with Haynes going out. How many would they have
Mhm.
both have had? But nonetheless, with running backs, you kind of have to look at their career long carries
Yep.
because, like, it is the most physically demanding position, maybe in all of sports. I don't have the sumo wrestling stats in front of me for what the ACLs on those guys go through, but it's tough, man. And yeah, like, he 150 carries last year, as you mentioned, on the dot, 932 yards, running for 6.2 per carry, 10 touchdowns. But he runs in a style that you're just like, man, can you do that for now, like 16 games with the playoff run? Can you do that for basically an NFL season? We're going to need guys to come in. And we already talked about our schedule. There's not weeks where we can just be like, Marshall, you're good this week. Like, you
No.
almost like you look at like Western Michigan, you're like, should we run Cusdall? Like, this is going to be such a bear of a schedule. It's like you've got to get him rest when he can. I think the loss of Justice Haynes is bigger than people realize because now Cusdall is essential personnel.
Well, the good news is Jason Beck likes to use everybody to run the football. Last season, they had 3 players over 500 yards and 7 over 100 yards, including a tight end. Like, everyone eats in this offense. So there's a lot of different ways to get the ball here. It's gonna be much different. So I think that not all hits and not all carries are created equal, and I think that's gonna benefit him greatly. But the Cusdall return is crucial here, especially with Taylor Tatum switching the defense, which we haven't talked
Yes.
about either. So, like, him going
Yes.
to the other side of the ball, that's another body out of the room. So now there's a clear hierarchy of Marshall, Gap, and then Cusdall and Hyder mixing in there. So as fast as Hyder can get up to speed, that can help again with Jordan Marshall's workload. But I think it's going to be a lot more balanced than we've seen in Michigan years past.
Yeah, that's a tremendous point. The Tatum news really caught me off guard. I expected him to come in and compete for RB2, and you're
Mhm.
telling me he's not competing for RB3, he's competing for safety 3? That's very interesting to me. I mean, you have no choice but to trust the coaching staff, but I thought we could have used Tatum in this backfield once Haynes transferred there. You also mentioned, how we're going to diversify the running game. I mean, Devin Dampier last year as a rusher ran for 835 yards and 10 touchdowns at Utah. I expect Bryce Underwood to be more integral in this running game, but you want to talk about a guy you need to protect.
It's
You gotta be careful with all of this stuff here, and against this schedule you can't really have guys taking weeks off, so it'll be interesting. It's interesting. I'm not panicked about any of this. I still think Hyder is ready to go as RB2 as a freshman, but we may be getting a little over leveraged on our Hyder stock now because it's like Hyder's essential personnel, Cusdall's essential personnel.
Yeah, I wrote about it actually coming out later this week, like how some of the production is going to be spread out. And I think the ideal scenario would just to be very similar to like 2021 with like some of the death numbers a little bit inflated, where you're going to see like you want Jordan Marshall around 900. You want RB2 if it's Savion Hyder to be pushing 7, and you want Bryson Cousin to be pushing 500 because Bryce Underwood's not going to be taking the carries Devin Dampier did last year. Dampier was bigger, thicker, a run first guy, and he still got banged up. He didn't practice at all during the week of the Texas Tech game, and we cannot have that. This offense is going to be more balanced passing the football as well. So, like we've seen other teams do, the run will set up the pass. The run will set up the pass, and the pass will set up the run. So I think that's going to have more balance in this as well. So it's not just going to be 7 offensive linemen running to a wall. That those days are
And
gone.
totally agree. Totally agree with everything you're saying. I also want to add that it's not as panic mode if,
No.
say, Underwood has to miss Minnesota. Like, if it's no Underwood at Minnesota, Nicolosi could come in and win you a game. I don't think Nicolosi's coming in to beat Indiana. He's not going on the road to Autzen and winning that, but you could win a game or two as
Mhm.
well. Like, if Underwood has to take a breather, obviously we're hoping none of that happens, but just talking depth here. Last thing before we take a break, this is one for me. I got to see Musa Diabate live in person this year, first time since he played at Michigan. Musa Diabate has become a guy. Win for the podcast. You and I are
Loved him.
on point with our basketball players when we say like this is a guy, he's got the talent. The only one that we've missed on is the freaking recent guard who got drafted to Atlanta. Why am
Kobe
I'm
Buffkin.
blanking on his name? Buffkin. Yeah, I can't believe I blanked on him. I was a Buffkin lover. Other than that, we're perfect on our analysis of guys that are going to work in the NBA. So just wanted to call that out. When we're right, we're right. Musa Diabate is a dude, and I don't blame him for going to the NBA. He couldn't get paid with those like early
So
rules with
stupid.
it was so dumb. He should have been at Michigan for 2 or 3 years and just now be doing this, but he ended up being an awesome, awesome player. He was so fun to watch live. Love Musa Diabate. You're a Wolverine in my eyes, brother.
Yes, love the energy. The Hornets are suddenly a fun watch. It's we
Incredibly fun.
and a likable team. You and I are saying
Mhm.
this in 2026, the year of our Lord, and a Ball brother still leads the ship. So it's saying something. But that team's fun, man. They're playing hard, so it's good to see. Good for Musa.
Yeah. And well, since we did that, I have to do 90 seconds of Pistons corner. Currently, number one in the power rankings. Cade Cunningham just set a record for most assists, points, steals, and blocks in a half in the history of the NBA. 2 All-Stars need to make a move, but this is the number one team in the East. If Michigan had had a better year and if the Lions would have followed up with making the playoffs, you could make an argument for greatest Michigan sports year ever. Depends on how you kind of weigh this stuff out. But with the way the Red Wings are going, Pistons are going, Michigan basketball, Michigan hockey, this is a pinnacle year. This is a really good year. The football stuff, which was so reliable for the last 4 years,
I
4
know.
years, really let us down this year. But these auxiliary, the offseason stuff has been great across the board if you're a Michigan sports fan. And
Yeah.
Michigan, when I say the state of, not necessarily the university of.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like it's only going to get better, man. Like as soon as it March and April and everything ramps up, it's going to be so much like content on the weekends, especially with the men's and women's tournament and then the Frozen Four action getting underway. It's one of the best springs I can remember.
It's really good stuff. We're going to take a break. When we
Oh,
come back, we're
one
going
more note.
to hit me.
Um, Michigan's spring team captains announced, and
Yes.
a leadership council as well. I'm not going to read all 11 names, but just for the spring team captains, it is Jordan Marshall, Bryce Underwood, Rod Moore, and Trey Pierce. Your thoughts?
Trey Pierce, interesting. Expectations rising for Trey Pierce in a place where we need someone to step up. So I'm encouraged by that. Bryce Underwood, obviously very young, but his importance to the team, that's rather unsurprising, but a young guy to make that. And from everything we've heard about Underwood, does everything right, in the locker room and off the field. So yeah, that sounds about right. Marshall's certainly no elder statesman
Nice.
either.
I mean, third year player now, so it's like he's up there. But like, I'm not surprised that Jordan Marshall and Rod Moore are here. They're going to vote again for fall captains. So maybe as the people get to know each other. But I like seeing the young guys like Bryce Underwood and Andrew Marsh as a part of the leadership council, as is Zach Marshall, which is the most unsurprising thing ever. If you've ever listened to a Zach Marshall interview, this kid dies for Michigan. So I love seeing that.
Big
And yeah,
Zach
no,
Marshall guy.
I know this is nice to see. You like seeing the stars in there as well, like Jair, Zeke Berry, and players of that nature on the council. So no, I think anything to empower the players like this is smart.
Also, just saying they're on the council sounds very Game of Thrones. And for you and I, who
This
are
is
loving Knights of the Seven Kingdom, by the way, for
come
any of
on.
our Thrones fans on this podcast, check out Knights of the Seven Kingdom on the council.
Yeah,
Love
maybe
it.
all yeah, but say these 11 players are on the small council. We'll just phrase it like that.
The small council. I'm here for it. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we are talking Michigan men's basketball best week of the season. And then I've got a very fun rapid fire, mostly football based for one Andy Bailey. Looking forward to that. We'll be back right after this. All right, we are back. We are righteous men. This is out of the blue. We are talking basketball as we are in the heat of it. Michigan coming off. If this wasn't the most difficult stretch, it is the second most difficult stretch. There's another one coming up
Yeah.
that we'll discuss that could be more difficult. But this was undefeated, previously undefeated Nebraska, and this was Michigan State ranked number 7 at the time. This was a week where we really had circled, like we're going to figure out a lot about who this team was. And while it wasn't pretty at all times, particularly against Nebraska, this team is rolling, brother. And they came out of this week unbeaten. And I've got a lot of thoughts. It's been a testament to Dusty May. Where do you want to start here?
Start there with Dusty May and the maturity of this team. Like rolled with the punches throughout. And I think that's a testament to Dusty and the head coaching style he has. Knows when to get after their ass, knows when to just be the calm voice in the room. You could watch him in the Michigan State game just walking the sidelines like he was out for a stroll, just super quiet. Tom Izzo is having a conniption on the other side, but he's just walking like his team's feeding off that calmness. Like they don't need him to get up for Michigan State. That's innate. So he's just kind of keeping them level. And I think that helped them weather the storm when Michigan State came back and they didn't panic and they took the lead again and held on. And very similar to Nebraska, they just stayed in the fight. They kept it close. They knew the shooting was going to come down a little bit. They had limited people, so they knew they could get to their legs late in the game, and they just fed off Dusty's confidence. And having a team that can weather storms like that, that's how you survive in the tournament.
You're not going to be able to run through the tournament in this era or in any era, maybe back in the 70s. I don't know. I'm not that dialed in on that. Just on talent alone or being the best coach team. Like, there's going to be nights your shots aren't falling. There's going to be nights when your guys don't have the legs, they don't have the energy. You got to find different ways to win. And they've certainly done that this year. They've found a lot of ways to win. They've been extremely adaptable. It's not just the Axel Lendenborg show against Nebraska. I mean, he had 10 points. He was 3 of 10. He went 0 for 6 from 3. He was kind of bad against Nebraska.
That was his worst game of the season.
I'm not going to sit here and lie to you, but
No.
Mojo comes up. He's 5 of 6 from the field with 12 rebounds. Excuse me. He was massive in that game. Day Mara, who I have to admit on this podcast in front of gods and men, I was a little bit of a doubter of. I'm really coming around to, particularly his ability to hit free throws once you hack him. And shout out to your wife who also knows ball, who sometimes when people are just tall, you're like, cool, what else can you do? And Ademara can do things.
Yeah.
Ademara can do things, and he's done those in the last couple of games. But the win against Nebraska, dramatically different from the win against Michigan State. And you're right, it's Dusty May, and that's where you have to start.
This Michigan State game, I mean, we have to keep in mind, Michigan has not won at Breslin in 8 years. Like, last one was 2018. It had been that long and just been done. And Dusty May had never beaten Michigan State, like 0 for 2 last year. So coming into this game, there was a lot of pressure on them to perform. And the way they came out, just dialed in, focused, got the big lead, I think just spoke a lot to their preparation. It wasn't a lot of rah-rah, nothing too crazy. It was just execution. But again, what's this team's calling card? It's defense. And that from the jump was an issue for Michigan State.
Yes, absolutely. In the Michigan State game, where really got out to a great lead in that one. I think they were up by 18 at one
Yeah.
point at their biggest lead in that, and it looked like they were going to cruise. Let them back into it in the second half, but credit to them never panicking. I love that you talk about Dusty Mays, just resolve and how he was different for the
Yep.
Nebraska game than he was against Michigan State. Seems like a guy that understands the rivalry and not afraid of the smoke. And Tom Izzo, not afraid to have comments, let's say, about Tom Izzo. What an annoying human being. Probably horrible at a barbecue. But yeah,
Yeah, on his birthday too. Why are you come on, Tom. No, you don't have many more left, like,
yeah.
your future's behind you.
Meanwhile, Fierce is out there just kicking everyone in the nuts every other play, and you don't
Jeremy
have
Fears
anything
is
to
such
add
a
to that.
scumbag. I'm just gonna say it, like,
Scum,
scumbag.
scum.
Like,
Yeah.
he's tripping people. The intentional foul on Yaks is super dirty. I can't stand the way he plays basketball. You always talk about ethical basketball. He is
Not
unethical basketball.
unethical
Unethical
basketball.
hoops. Can't stand it.
We agree there. It is unethical hoops. I don't care for it. I do like Carr, but just because I like guys that can yam it down. But
Carr is
other
just an
than that,
exciting player. Like, if you ask a 5-year-old or a 95-year-old if he's an exciting player, they're going to say yes.
yes. I mean, and it is what it is. We're simple men when
Yeah.
it all comes down to it, and we like exciting play. But that was a great game, man. The energy was a lot of fun. Michigan, sometimes the offense can peter out. So after those two games, what do you think is our greatest strength and what is our greatest weakness?
Greatest strength is interior defense, the paint. Like, it is so hard to get a clean shot anywhere on this team flat out. They're number one in defense and Ken Palm number one overall. But the paint is so well protected. The way they rotate on the inside, Mara and Mojo set the tone. But even when Cheddar and they go a little bit smaller, their rotations, Yaks loves to get back and play hard defense. Roddy Gale does as well. Everyone's blocking shots. Cadeau can be a problem at times on defense with what they do. Like, they're just very connected, but like none more so than in the paint. Like, that is just so hard to get easy looks against Michigan to where you rely on just chucking up threes and hoping you're hot.
I agree. It's a little Oklahoma City-esque in that, like, they're
Uh-huh.
gonna play defense. They don't have the personnel. There's no Lou Dort
No.
on this team that's, like, that elite of a defender, but they're gonna play you so tight, they might foul you. It could become a game that gets decided at the foul line, but when they're hitting their shots, they're almost impossible to beat, and when they're not hitting their shots, they can drag you down into a different type of game. They can drag you
Yes.
down into a defensive paint type of game,
Win different ways.
multiple ways. They can win in a lot of different ways. And that's what you absolutely have to be able to do in the tournament. All of this is a run setting up what they can do in the tournament, which makes basketball so weird. Is like you
Yeah.
want to be like, what a great win against Michigan State. Ultimately, that win means nothing right
Yeah.
now. It's about what that win can lead to, but they are building, and Dusty May said it after that Michigan State win. He's like, what we're not going to do is get too high. This will not be our pinnacle. And that's the key is like, it's tough not to get emotional for a game against Tom Izzo, against a top 10 Michigan State team, but that can't be the pinnacle. Can't rest on that. Their goals are higher. I think this team realizes that. This team is well led. Yaxel Lendenborg is an all-time Wolverine. I don't care that he's a transfer. I freaking love Yaxel
Yeah.
Lendenborg. I'm obsessed with Mojo. We were talking pre-pod. You said this is your favorite team we've ever covered.
Yeah.
They've entered my top 3. They are about to overtake number 2. This is an awesome team to watch, man. I love watching this team, even despite the fact it's a lot of transfers.
Yeah. To your point about Dusty May and his comments after, reminds me of Mike Elko, Texas A&M's coach. He said, "My job as a head coach is to always go against the grain. So when the team's high, I got to keep them at reality, and when they're low, I got to bring them back up." And I think that's what Dusty May does it as well as any coach in the country. And as far as this team's like just likability, Yaxel is probably the most likable superstar in college basketball because he's such an everyman. He's so down to earth. He's such a team first player. And I love your boy Sam Bassini just raving about Dusty May and having Yaxel play a role that he's exactly going to play in the NBA. Like, there's no stat manipulation. Like, this is the role you're going to play in the
Is
NBA.
what you're gonna get.
You're going to be like 2-3, and you're going to find your role. You're going to carve it out on both ends of the court, and he fits it perfectly. And now, not to mention, we talked about his Nebraska game being rough and kind of just a rough stretch post Christmas. He's been injured. Like, now he's finally getting healthy, and this is what the team needs him to do is be healthy. And I loved at the end of the Michigan State game, it was he and Cadeau, it was these experienced guys looking to take over, looking to take the big shots, stars being stars.
Yeah, make no mistake about it. He has to be a star for this team to get to the Final Four. I mean,
Mhm.
that's he's the team is built around him. Now they've proven to be incredibly deep with a ton of glue guys, and I love the glue guy nature of guys like Will Cheddar and like
That
Trey
3
McKenney has
by
gone
Cheddar at
beyond
the end of the game, oh my
huge, man.
god.
And like McKenney has gone beyond glue guy, obviously a highly recruited guy. You know, he's got star potential there, but becoming reliable, at least as a bucket getter, defensive awareness will get there. But you know, freshman guard, I get it.
Freshman guard.
You know, yeah, we'll get there. But as it stands right now, one loss on the season, number two in the country. It is Penn State at home on Thursday, at Ohio State on Sunday, at Northwestern next Wednesday, UCLA on Saturday. Okay, all fine and good. I mean, UCLA certainly not one you want to overlook. Despite that's at home, I'm glad to see that. But then it's at Purdue and Duke at a neutral site, and then that's the next week we've got our eyes on.
I honestly think this team has a better chance at like getting caught in one of these games, like Northwestern. Like Nick Martinelli is the leading scorer in the Big Ten, and he gave us fits last year. Like the kid's
Yeah,
just a bucket. Like I feel like there's a better chance for them to drop one of these upcoming games. I mean, Penn State hasn't won a game in the Big Ten, gave Michigan fits in Happy Valley without some of their best players. So like, I feel like there's a chance to get got in one of these spots. But if they don't, you know they're going to be up for Purdue, and the hardest thing to do is to beat this team when they're up.
I'm totally there. I could never be more locked in than Morez Johnson versus Cam Boozer in
Hmm.
that Duke game.
Hmm.
Elite stuff. Morez Johnson, who's starting to get first round discussion. My favorite player on the team. I just love the way that he plays. He's a physical force down there, as is Cam Boozer. When a rock meets a hard place, I can't wait to see where that goes. But yeah, I mean, this team, they could lose every game, much like the hockey team, and still be in the tournament,
Yep.
which is a great place to be, but that's not going to be what happens. Let's see how they adapt and let's see how they round into form here for the tournament. Yaxel Lendenborg coming back into health, as you mentioned. Their best week of the season. This was their best week of the season, despite the fact that they went on those 40 point runs. Doing this, despite, you know, figuring some things out against better opponents, I think this was the best week of the season thus far.
Absolutely. I mean, this is the biggest regular season game. Just the feel to it. Like last year had some moments. I remember the 2021 season, the Ohio State game of the regular season just had such an energy to it. And it was such an exciting game. I believe it went into the 90s. This had that kind of feel, man. This was big time college basketball at its finest. Really make if you needed to get in on the season, you saw a little, basketball fatigue or football fatigue, kind of limping into the season, turning the page. This is the game that did it. Now it's basketball season officially with this one. And just as a point here to put a bow on this about the trajectory of this team and Yaxel's health, Yaxel is 10th on this team in 3-point percentage. That's not
That's
going to last.
insane. Yeah, he's a like true 3 and D guy that will
Yeah,
come up.
that's going to come up. So, like, that just speaks to the potential and what he can do. Health and just this team just not getting complacent right now. But as we know, like, a complacency loss isn't the worst thing, especially when a team gets hot. We really haven't seen this team have too many of those, like post Wake Forest, TCU early in the year. Even the Wisconsin game, Wisconsin got super hot. It happens. It's a Big Ten team. It's the best conference in basketball. So as long as they're up, man, they're really tough to beat. And I can't wait to see how they perform in that stretch when you have Purdue, Duke. I think Illinois is right around the same time, who's also fifth in the country.
Yeah, Illinois, you go Duke, Minnesota, then at Illinois, who Illinois has got Wagler, who's a stud,
He
but
had
be interesting to
46,
see.
didn't he? Like last
Whoo!
weekend or
Yeah,
something. Yeah, like that's
kid
a
can
good team.
shoot.
Yeah.
Kid can shoot. Yeah, man. And I like your point there about like your and we could go into this some other time. Like you're telling me that's not the biggest game, but the energy of a game sometimes
Mhm.
tells you like this is a bigger game.
Yeah.
Couldn't agree more. We've been at some of those games ourselves. So yeah, I'm with you, brother. All right. I know you're ready, so I'm not going to ask if you're ready, but I've got a fun rapid fire plan to end this episode, mostly focused on football, but we're going around the board, around the clock. I also got a couple I didn't throw into the doc. So
All right.
I don't know if you read it. I don't know if you're
I
prepared or
haven't seen
not.
any of them. Nothing.
Let's let's go. Let's start you off with a warm up.
All right.
Rapid fire. Here we go. Who you got in a fight in their prime? Jamie Lannister, Ned Stark, the Hound, or Arya?
Jamie Lannister.
Interesting.
Jamie Lannister was a dog. Like, let's not get it twisted. Jamie Lannister is a flat out dog. It's not just that he's this rich kid. He has that up against him, but he had the best training, especially with both hands. Like Jamie Lannister is just a problem. Like you put Arthur Dayne in there, come on now. Arthur Dayne
I
is
didn't
taking
put him in
anybody.
there. I
I'm
didn't put him
taking
in
the
there.
sword
That's
of the
why.
morning against anybody
I
in the
didn't put
realm.
Tom Brady in there.
Exactly. But yeah, I'm taking Jamie Lannister in that one.
Interesting because the Arya fought Bran of Tarth to a draw. Bran of Tarth beat the Hound beat the Mountain. So if you're doing like transitive property, now Jamie Lannister in the show did fight Ned Stark to what looked like a draw. It'd be interesting to see. I wish we would have gotten to see that. That's why I
Yeah.
texted you that one day. Is like, are we taking this into account? I think we do. It's a reasonable choice. There's no
Yeah.
real wrong choice here. But I would take Arya a close second because never see her coming. All
Faceless.
right. That one was for us. The rest of these are for you guys. All right. Who you taking? This is if you listen to the Out of the Blue, this is a staple for any rapid fire. Who gives us our best shot to win a championship next year? You get to bring back one of these guys in their prime. Mozzie Smith, Jake Butt, Jake Long, Mike Sainristil, Mike Hart.
Wow, that's a tremendous list.
Mozzie Smith, Jake Butt, Jake Long, Mike Sainristil, Mike Hart.
So I'm torn on positional value just because what Jake Long can just do to the left side of the offensive line. Like, okay, we can run everything there. And I think that's probably my answer. But just to spice it up, just to add a little different element to this, you put Mikey Sainristil on this team just as a leader. I think that elevates everything because I think leadership was something this team was lacking last year. I mean, unsurprisingly, their head coach had other things on his mind as a leader. So having him in the room, I think would do so much for everybody and just bring a calmness and a versatility where he can play nickel, he could play safety, he could play outside. He makes everything better. The answer is Jake Long, but the fun answer is Mike Sainristil.
I like it. I thought I might get you to go to Mozzie Smith because of where we're at positionally.
That's fair. I thought about that. I mean, I think I've cooled a little bit on Mozzie Smith over the years, but
Mm.
still smart thinking of a need.
Yeah. If I would have gone Kenneth Grant, would that have enticed you more?
Yeah, probably so.
Okay. Okay. All
If you
right.
said
Understood.
Mason Graham, just stop there.
Well, I couldn't go exactly. You go too high,
Yeah.
it's just Mason Graham,
Yeah.
and this isn't a fun exercise. All right. All right. For this next one, I want you to give me a percentage chance of possibility, 10, 20, 50, whatever it is, that this happens. All right. Braden Fowler Nicolosi has to go out and win you a game.
I would
And
say
we're
I
not
think
just talking about we're not talking about injuries here. We're
yeah.
talking about you've got to bench Underwood
Oh,
for a
bench.
game. You got to bench him for a game because he's thrown 3 picks.
Less than 10%.
Okay.
Less than 10.
All right.
Jason Beck does a great job of creating easy throws and easy reads. A big reason Kyle Whittingham brought this offense in is the simplicity to understand it. So it's complex in its simplicity, but for a signal caller, you have easy reads pre-snap and post-snap. And I think it's going to make a lot of things easier for him. And he's also going to have a GD position coach this year to help
Doesn't
him
hurt.
develop. So if you'd asked me this last year, much higher. This year, I think it's less than 10%.
All right. There's a 2-part follow-up to that question. All right. First, percentage chance that Fowler Nicolosi challenges Underwood in the spring or fall for quarterback 1.
0. Less
0%
than 0.
chance. Okay. Understood. Follow-up number 2, percentage chance Colin Hurley ever plays meaningful snaps in a need-to-win game for the University of Michigan.
He's only a sophomore, a rising sophomore or redshirt freshman.
He's young. I think
Yeah,
redshirt freshman. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think, I mean, at the rate transfers happen, I can't go above 50, but I'd say there's probably like a 35% chance.
It's a tough one. It's a tough one. I struggled with that one as well with the transfer part of it.
You're kind of projecting ahead, though, because like there's no one really behind him yet. You don't know who's coming in the portal. If he might stay, but we'll see.
Dramatically higher rated than any of the young guys we have coming in, which is why I bring this up. Like he is way higher up than Smeagol. Like he's dramatically, so we're keeping an eye on there. Percentage chance Celesi Moa is returning kicks or punts this year.
That's a fun one. I would say 50%, 50-50. He's going to get carries on offense in Beck's scheme. Like he likes to get the ball in hands of playmakers. And again, take some of the carries away from the backs, keep him healthier. And I think he's going to get some touches there as well. It's going to be tough to take him away from Marsh though. Like, so I'm giving him 50, just being generous, but I could very easily see them keeping Marsh, especially on punt returns.
And do you want him on kick returns necessarily?
That's the question.
Kick return and punt returns are a little different animal.
They're a little different. I mean, it wouldn't be the craziest thing. I think he has a better chance at kick return, though.
Okay. Something to keep an eye on,
Yeah,
though, because too good to keep off the field and he's touching the ball in some way, shape, or form. How
he's
do you do
dynamic.
it? So,
Yeah.
absolutely. All right. Pick one movie catalog: Kurt Russell, Russell Crowe.
Oh, that's
I
fun.
hate this one for you. I mean,
This
I'll answer it too because I'm a gentleman, but I hate this for you.
Yours is Kurt Russell. I know yours is Kurt
He's
Russell.
my
There's
favorite
there's
actor.
so
Yeah.
many in your bag. I'm going to go Russell Crowe just so if I have Gladiator and Master and Commander, I don't know what else
Master
I
and
need.
Commander.
Like,
That's the thing. Master and Commander is higher than any Kurt Russell movie, so it's not as easy as you might think.
exactly. Like, that's tough. And then you also get like throw the nice guys in. Like so like you can get
Hmm.
a little bit of balance in there as
Little
well.
comedy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
but
need that.
Kurt Russell also, I mean, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood,
His is way
Captain
yeah.
Ron,
It's Soup Captain Ron. What a banger.
hilarious.
There's some I mean, you can get Guardians of the Galaxy too if you just want
Yeah,
to throw in a superhero movie, you know?
yeah, he's around. He's doing stuff. It's a tough one. I'm with you there.
Yeah.
All right. Who would you rather have in the fifth round of this NFL draft or beyond, anywhere, but we're capping it at the fifth?
Okay.
Marlon Klein, Jayshon Barham, or Donovan McCulley?
Donovan McCulley. I I
I
I
love
I would say
this.
Donovan McCulley because one, you can't teach size. Two, he's very new at the position still. There's a lot to work with there, and I just like how that projects the next level because in a wide receiver room, you want that to look like a basketball team, and he provides something a lot of people can't. And he's got an edge to him that I love.
I really struggled with this one because for a lot of the same reasons you could go Klein, like we were just starting to see it, had the injury, and then by the time he came back, our quarterback position was in absolute ruins and we didn't know
Yeah.
how to get the ball to the tight end. But he showed talent and we know he can block. And it's like, man, am I passing up on the next AJ Barner in the sixth round? Like, if he's there in the sixth round, I'm taking Klein. If he's there in the
It's
fifth round, I'm having a long look.
I'm going to take McCulley over him because there's just more proof of concept. Like
It's fair.
I've
It's
seen Marlon Klein
totally fair.
go off against New Mexico, and that's what I have to go on. And with Barham, I don't know if he
Too
can play.
situational.
I don't know if he can play at the edge at the next level. I just don't know if he can
No.
hold up against the run. I think he projects better as an off the ball linebacker. And with
Yes. You
that,
move it back to linebacker.
there's still some versatility there. I think there's a lot of things you can do with them. So honestly, if I were ranking them in the fifth round, I would go McCulley first, Barham two, and then Marlon Klein three.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you talk about Barham moving back to linebacker, get him with a good coach. Like if you
Yeah.
get him in with Vrabel and you know he puts on another 8 pounds, 10 pounds, 12 pounds, it's like, okay, all of a sudden with that speed and versatility, he's certainly athletic.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a more interesting player with you, but there's some work to be done. I think Klein can come in and be a physical blocker right away. And we saw it in one game, those hands looked
It's
amazing.
That's
And
the
I
thing,
was like,
man. There's so much unknown, but there's also so much to be excited about, which makes it an intriguing day three kind of prospect.
yeah, those are the 3 that I was, like, really struggling with, and I'm
It's
like,
tough.
if I had a pick in the 5th round and all 3 of those guys are on the board, I'd be like, it would
Yeah.
depend on what I need and, like, who I've got in the building to coach these guys up. It's
Yeah.
interesting here. Alright, so this, based on a conversation we had earlier, who being at 100% is more healthy to this defense reaching its ceiling? Rod Moore, John Henry Daly?
John Henry Daly. John Henry Daly.
Yeah.
There's more depth in the back end. Without John Henry Daly, the pass rush situation gets a little worrisome. I mean, obviously, if you lose an All American, this team's already played without Rod Moore for
Mhm.
or 2 years now. They understand how to do it. There's enough bodies back there, adding Bracey in the back end as well. They find a way to mitigate that loss. I don't think you can mitigate the loss of John Henry Daly.
Follow-up question, would Rod Moore reaching his ceiling that we've seen take it to a higher potential ceiling?
I still
The
think
best version of Rod Moore
if
comes
you do
back next year. What does that do for this team? Maybe that's the better question.
that's that
Does it yeah.
that changes a lot because that's very similar to the Sanders still because you get some versatility there. I think he can play nickel. I really think Jay Hill's going to use him in a lot of different ways. He's just so smart, man. Like in a game and a half last year, he had an interception. He had game-changing tackles. He's just that kind of player. And like when you have an all-time type of safety back there, it's going to change things.
You're right. I wanted to get a different answer and see if I could prod you toward it. But if John Henry Daly can't come out and be 11 sack John Henry Daly, I'm just flat out not in on this defensive line.
It's worrisome. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
even if you could just get him back to like I think Mike Morris was Big Ten Defensive Lineman of the Year with only like 7.5
If you can get
sacks.
him to Mike Morris
If
level,
you
yeah.
can get him to that, Mike Morris actually holds up historically well. Like I was going through some things recently. I was like, wow, Mike Morris. I mean, big like awards and accolades. If he can get there, this defensive line is going to be in good shape.
Okay, I like it there. This one coming from you. Elliot Cadeau is the best slash most impactful Michigan point guard since whom?
Burke,
Assuming he continues his stat line.
Burke. It's,
I
I
love
mean, I mean,
this.
Derek Walton's the one. Right, well, you might have some jostling back and
Mhm.
forth with what Derek Walton could do as a scorer, but I think
Trey
Elliott could
Donaldson
do.
in big games
Trey
deserves
Donaldson
a
in big games
mention.
there, but Trey Donaldson also would disappear a lot of times to me, and
Yeah.
it would give me some. I'd always wanted a little bit more. I like Trey a lot. I think he's really in this conversation. Mike Smith, an underrated point guard as well. For that 1 year he was here, kind of the mercenary, and obviously Xavier Simpson, everything he meant to this team through that run. But I think it's between Walton and Cadeau. But man, the way Cadeau has embraced this team, become an emotional leader, really just like the effort on defense as well, kind of serving as a pit bull out there and going against players like Fears. I go him since Burke, and it's going to take a hell of a run to pass Burke.
No one's passing Burke anytime soon. You're gonna have to
Well,
play for a couple of
you're going to have
years.
to
Yeah,
hit a
If
national
McKinney
championship.
plays for 2 more, we'll talk.
If Cadeau hits a game winner in the national title, we might have a conversation. We'll see about that.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
got to hit some big. It's going to come down to big moments and all that stuff. Still yet to come. I'm of the opinion that Cadeau is the second most important player on this team. It would be tough. I mean, it's tough to remove any of the pieces. Like you
Yeah.
remove Mara, you remove Mojo. This team isn't what it is. They are who they are because of the depth and
Yes.
everything. But if you remove Cadeau and McKinney, it's McKinney, and then who's
Kaysen.
backing up McKinney? Yeah, like I don't know, man.
Defensively,
Kaysen backing up McKinney. Kaysen is not a point guard. Kaysen is a true 2 guard.
yeah, exactly. You run into the situation they were in last year where Danny Wolf was running point.
Yeah, exactly. Yaxel, it'd be point Yaxel, and
Yep.
everyone's loading up on him, and it's a lot less fun to watch. I'm with you. All right, this last one.
All
I'm
right.
proud of this one. Good luck with this. Pick your True Detective season 5 duo of the following duos. All right, Matt Damon and Ben Affleck, Harrison Ford and Tommy Lee Jones in 1994. Russell Crowe and your choice of either Paul Bettany or Ryan Gosling,
Oh, God.
Kate Winslet and Mark Ruffalo, Steve Martin and Martin Short.
Oh, man. Oh, that's good.
I'll run through them again if you want.
No, I got him. You can say one more time so listeners have
Matt Damon and Ben Affleck, the bro pairing. Harrison Ford and Tommy Lee Jones in 1994, the obvious fugitive pairing if you listen to this podcast. Just getting the fugitive as a True Detective season. Russell Crowe and either Paul Bettany, that clearly being from Master and Commander, or Ryan Gosling from The Nice Guys, as where they basically played a detective duo. And then Winslet and Mark Ruffalo, a reference to something that might happen if we all pray to our lucky stars. That might happen.
If we add some pieces, I think.
And Martin Short and Steve Martin, which is just fun.
That's just fun. That's just completely different. That's like the
silly.
Night of the Seven Kingdoms of True Detective.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with the first one. I'm going to go Affleck and Damon. Maybe I'm just on a heater with them recently, but I think they can really go balance the vicious and the sweet in their relationship to a certain degree that other ones I think would be a little trickier. But because we've seen Damon be vicious, like, School Ties, Mr. Ripley, things like that. And we've seen it with Affleck as well. And I think they have such that underlying chemistry from just being friends since they were 8 years old that it would really shine through on the show.
It's a great choice. There's no wrong choice.
There's no
here.
wrong
Like,
choice. It's tremendous.
If we get Winslet and Ruffalo,
So down.
that's so up our alley. It's
That's
insane.
so-
We might get that.
Well, especially Kate Winslet can do anything. It's like,
Anything.
anything.
Yeah.
Anything she wants.
She's the best. I'm going Ford and Lee Jones in 1994. It feels like a cheat code. Like if I'm just getting 6 episodes of The Fugitive, I'm in.
It's just, I feel like, because you're going to have Tommy Lee Jones being the talker. Like, you're going to have him being the talker. You're going to have
He's the Russ Cole.
He's going to be spitting some bars out there. I'd be into it. I saw Space Cowboys in theaters. Like, I will get up for the old guys. I'm here for it. 94 or present day.
All right. Follow-up question. Is there a duo not named, like ideal duo you'd like to see for True Detective? Just it's not a buddy cop thing. It really isn't. People say that about True Detective. They're not buddies.
No, there's an
They end
obvious,
up as buddies, but
Leo and Brad Pitt.
yeah. Yeah, too big for me because I
Okay.
see Leo and Brad Pitt when I see them. Granted, I would same thing with Harrison Ford and Tommy Lee. They're probably too big. I mean, all these names are pretty big. It'd be tough to see anybody else.
Yeah, there's some fun ones. That's like a fun fantasy draft. Just going through some of the
Mhm.
big names, especially. I mean, I would love to
Draft up the duo you'd
get
like to see.
Chalamet in
Yeah.
there with somebody.
What about Daniel Radcliffe and Ray Fiennes? Get the Voldemort Harry Potter reunion.
That's good. That's a fun one. Yeah, I would love if we could do. You could do Chalamet, and we think there was. Oh, there's another one right there. Not Adam Driver. No, I'm kind of
Uh,
fine on Adam Driver.
Austin Butler?
How you feel about Austin Butler now? How's your mileage?
We're in a holding pattern.
All right. Speaking to the times, Michael B. Jordan, 2 roles.
No. It worked once. I don't think without Kugler that doesn't work. Yeah. No, this is great though, dude. This is a good little tease for the award season podcast coming in 2
Yes.
weeks where we will talk about our favorite movies of the year. Great movie year, by the way. Excited for this one. Better than last year's movie year, and we still did 2 hours last year. So, it'll be a good one. And then we'll also give away our season awards, things like
Yes.
best play of the season.
Yep.
One of my favorite categories is like the play that went under the radar that secretly like made the season. A little tougher in a 8-win season than
I
it
already
is
know
in
my
a
play.
oh, I can't wait. Don't we're not giving it away
Not
now.
not no
Yeah,
no
yeah.
no no giveaways.
Yep. Biggest riser on the team, most disappointing on the team, all that stuff. One of our favorites. So that's coming up in 2 weeks. Brother, anything else from you or producer Tony before we call it on this one?
No, man, good to be back. Big week to cover. Couldn't miss this one either. I had to like record from outside and just get the old rabbit ears out or whatever I had to do. I
Mhm.
couldn't miss this one. Great week of Michigan sports. Historic week, double wins at Breslin, man. I'm really excited for this spring.
Andy Bailey coming live from his neighbor's garage doesn't know he's using his Wi-Fi. We've got him for
I've been
maybe 5
stealing his
minutes.
cable for years. I figured he'd know by now.
That's on him.
That's
That's a
on him.
him thing.
At this point.
Good to have you back, brother. Thank you to producer Tony. We've got some fun updates coming for you in the coming weeks, but for now, make sure you are checking in on Out of the Blue. We'll be back next week. Awards pod in 2 weeks. Spring game draft. Never too early to tease that. That'll be mid-April. Yeah, mid-April, generally.
Yep.
Yeah, probably second week of April would be my guess on that. So we will be with you for the duration. I'm Jared. That's Andy. This is Out of the Blue, and we'd like to remind you that wherever you go, go blue.